Jim Providence with the Toledo Blade. Do you have a dollar value on a dozen roses, and are you going to run into the same problems you did with the teddy bears?
This is a good question, and I asked them to be printed on the cards. It's not on the cards, but because they come in groups of 3, see each one. Let me just show you these 3 that I mentioned here. Okay, here they are, 3. They're sent by. Actually, we had more people sending them. We have roses here because we had some last-minute orders. This is from Westchester, Ohio. This is from Columbus, Ohio. But the price is for the person who ordered the 3 roses. So that's well under the $25 mark of the reporting requirement. So even though they're getting lots and lots of roses, each one, it comes from another individual, not from us, but from other individuals throughout their constituents, people throughout the heartland that have said, please pass the heartbeat bill. So all of the deliveries that are happening today are well under their reporting requirement.
So 2 people paid for 3 roses there?
Well, there's an extra card attached because the order came in like yesterday.
1 person per rose?
One person for 3 roses. So 3 roses, each person sent 3 roses.
And how much?
Go ahead, Ann, say who you are.
I'm sorry, Ann Sander, AP. How much did each of these cost, like to sponsor 3 roses or?
Yeah, it's all online. You can still see it today. What they did is they actually sent roses to the leadership, which is why they're getting a dozen today. You can send it to the committee, which each committee member, I believe, is getting 9 dozen roses. Or you could send it to the entire Senate. So again, each one getting 3 roses, well under the 25 mark, but those prices vary. They're all online.
I have a question. This is Kathy Kendisky with the Dispatch. What do you think is holding this bill up, and what has to happen for this to come to the floor for a vote, or a committee for a vote?
There are certain considerations being given by the President of the Senate and leadership in the Senate as it relates to a divergence of opinion in the Senate. And once that is worked out, I think the bill will come for a vote.
So you think it's workable? It's the issues that are present they're going to be able to come to a meeting of the minds on that.
As the state motto says, with God, all things are possible.
Okay, thank you.
And even when you look at the folks who that may have some concerns, they have all said, virtually all, that when it comes to the floor, they'll vote for it. Now that includes Peggy Lehner, Senator Lehner, and many who have talked about the various things in the amendments. And there was concerns about the amendments; those have all been cleared up. Those were amendments that came from the Senate, and I believe it makes it a better bill. We believe that the committee can add those amendments very quickly with 1 vote, vote it out of committee, bring it to the floor, and babies will be protected, and Ohio can lead the way again. Many of you know, some of you were here last time when I was here, as Jim is returning, I'm returning. And the last time we were here, we led the charge of the nation. We passed the nation's first ban on partial birth abortion. And there were a lot of people then who said, oh, it's unconstitutional. We can't have this. This might be struck down. It could set us back. It could reaffirm Roe. And the fact of the matter is, when we passed that law, it did at first lose in the courts. But because 30 states followed us, and Congress followed us, the Supreme Court in 2000 eventually did say no. And they essentially reaffirmed Roe. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because 7 years later, in the congressional version, the Gonzales v. Carhart case, the Supreme Court said yes. And the law that began here in Ohio, the ban on partial birth abortion, was declared to be completely legal and constitutional. And so we expect the very same thing to happen here. And what's great about this is an idea that Senator Seitz had. Senator Seitz said, you know what you need in this bill is severability. So that even if the Supreme Court says, let's just say initially the court says, yes, we're going to give you informed consent. Well, why do we know that? Probably because they've already done it. Many of you know, Candace, you were here. I was the one who worked to pass. Jim, you were there to vote on the informed consent, the woman's right to know law. It was 1989, 1991. I think we got it through.
And we were across the street.
That's right. That's right. And we were very happy to give women informed consent. We were very encouraged to make sure informed consent was a part of this bill. But that's not the only part of this bill. Even if the court says yes to informed consent and yes to testing, yes to reporting, we believe that the Supreme Court is going to say yes to the protection. That's the heart of the heartbeat bill. Some are wanting to gut the bill, take the heart out of the heartbeat bill. We say no, because that's the most important part of this legislation. It is what will provide legal protection to babies with beating hearts. You saw the polls. Whatever poll you look at, the majority of the people in this state, our poll we saw was 2 out of 3 people want this bill to become law, 8 out of 10 Republicans, 7 out of 10 independents, and a Democrat majority by a 5-3 margin. People in Ohio want babies with beating hearts protected. The legislature in the House House want babies with beating hearts protected, as we saw 54 co-sponsors. Tell me, Jim, how many, you see a lot of bills come through here. Most of them don't have 54 co-sponsors, am I right?
That's correct.
But when the Speaker of the House added his name on the bill, he added his endorsement that says, yes, we've investigated this thoroughly. You may remember it was held up in the House for a while because it was being vetted. They were looking at it to make sure that it met all the constitutional constraints, and it does. And so as we are heading down to the Senate, all we need now is for the Senate to say, yes, bring this vote to the floor. And we're not saying which way you even have to vote. We are asking for an up or down vote. That the people of Ohio, the babies of Ohio represented by these roses, deserve an up or down vote. Let the Senate vote. That is the message we have today as we deliver these roses.
Janet, do you have pro-heartbeat bill candidates on the ballot challenging incumbents?
There are, that question needs to be asked to Ohio Pro-Life Action. I'm not on the board of Ohio Pro-Life Action, so I would recommend that you call Linda Tice. I'll give you her contact information. They can tell you about what's happening in the election.
But is that one of the reasons that they're saying we're not going to touch this until after the primary?
You know, I'm really not sure why they wouldn't bring this to a vote after the primary. Quite frankly, I think it's a win-win. Those who may be questioning why this bill hasn't come forth, that question could be answered just like that. They could say, I will vote for babies with beating hearts, and those questions go away. So I think there are some legitimate questions. Why hasn't it happened yet? I mean, I'll tell you, I looked last week on the calendar, on the Senate schedule. I don't know if you guys got a peek of this, but they have 5 awareness months they're voting for. 5. I mean, I have nothing against the disease of the month. Don't get me wrong. But 5 awareness months. There's also a bill that will acknowledge the county fairs. I think that's actually on the roster today because it was last week and it was moved to. So 5 awareness months, a county fair bill, which, and I'm pro-county fair as much as the next person, but there's something more important pending that's sitting on the shelf. And some are saying, well, we're the most pro-life Senate in history. Well, I don't know that you can possibly say that when the most pro-life bill in our history remains sitting on the shelf. The only thing they need to do is call a vote. All the questions go away, all the lobbying goes away, and I hope they enjoy their roses, but I think that they need to understand that we in this movement are not going to remain silent. We will be a voice for the voiceless until these babies are protected. Until the killing stops, we will be here knocking on their doors and asking for them to do their jobs, which, as Jefferson said very clearly, is to protect human life. That's their role. County fairs are one thing. Acknowledging the month, the disease of the month is another. There are those who are saying, well, we've really got to push for the plight of the troubled puppy. The puppies in Ohio are being mistreated, and isn't that a terrible thing? I'm for protection of puppies, don't get me wrong. But the protection of babies, if we're going to prioritize where we spend our time, certainly babies with beating hearts take a higher priority over puppies. Any other questions?
Mark,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mark Kovac, Dix Newspapers and the Vindicator. Where's Representative Watchman?
He's in route.
He's in route. That's why I was asked to come over.
'Cause I think you've had a couple of these where he was supposed to be here and he didn't
Yeah,
come.
he's on his way. He was in a snowstorm. He said, I left way early and I'm running way late. But as soon as he gets here, I called him. He'll be coming in hopefully in
Okay.
time. Yes, sir.
Can we bother over here for a quick second?
Well, let me just ask if there's any other questions first before we break away. I know the sound's not good as it is right now.